Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at Believe in Music Week's Hal Leonard booth today for the Exploring the Modern Band Method session with Scott Burstein and friends. Hal Leonard is really stoked about partnering with Little Kids Rock in making these Modern Band Method books available for this growing school music program. Modern Band is designed to complement existing school music programs, allowing music making to be available to children who might not otherwise participate in traditional music classes, or even for those who do participate in traditional programs but want to expand their music involvement. A number of school districts around the country have already adopted Modern Band programming by making it an official part of their school music programs, and we are now thrilled to be able to offer a bona fide printed curriculum to support this growing phenomenon. Let me introduce you to Little Kid Rock's Director of Teaching and Learning, Scott Burstein, who will also be introducing other Modern Band methods to walk you through this groundbreaking method series. Take it away, Scott and friends.
Hey, my name is Scott.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mary Claxton.
Hi, my name is Spencer Hale.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tony Souza.
And we are all the authors of the Modern Band Method Book series published by Hal Leonard. We're really excited to have you here today to explore the Modern Band Method. So, first of all, let's just talk a bit for a second about the genesis of this book and why it exists. All of us are former public school music teachers. We taught at different levels from K through 12. And we taught a lot of different subjects. I know I personally taught everything from marching band to concert band and jazz band, as well as popular music. And when we teach our concert bands or our jazz bands, there was always a method book series that we could purchase, like Essential Elements, and we could work on it with our entire classroom. But nothing like this existed yet for any sort of popular music class. Sure, there are books where you can buy music. There are even books you can buy music for different instruments. But none of it that combines the experience of teaching it in the classroom with lessons ranging from things like composition and improvisation, as well as repertoire that's student-centered and current. So that's where we came in and decided to do this with our experience working with Little Kids Rock to help benefit all the teachers we have in our network. So the first goal of this book was to create something that you could work on alone and together. So for an entire class with guitar, bass, keyboards, drums, and even vocals, or individually. So if you have a student that just wants to learn more on their own thing, they can purchase the book independently and work on guitar, for instance, and becoming a better guitar player. So the activities throughout are designed to be activities that can be done with an entire class period. And about 70% of the activities are done all together with a little bit of breakout for extensions for each instrument. This is a pretty unique thing to be able to do, and hopefully something that you're going to find is really helpful in your own lesson planning. So second of all, there's a big focus on iconic notation. From the very outset, we start looking at notation specifically for however we can learn to read it and play it as quickly as possible. So everything from sheet music in chord charts to tablature to traditional standard staff notation. All these methods are used throughout the book and are introduced in different ways, and they're all really important in being a popular musician. Another large difference between our popular music method book and a lot of other method books is the focus on improvisation and composition, as well as typical instrumental music skills, music reading, music theory, and all the other technique aspects. But here, there's an actual focus on learning how to improvise slowly and in a way that feels really comfortable, as well as compose our own music, something that's essential in popular music education. So you might notice we have 4 books, one for guitar, bass, drums, and keyboard, but there's not a vocal book. Why is that? Well, because everybody should sing in popular music. All of the books include information on singing, including lyrics and tips for how to play and sing at the same time, and we highly encourage teachers to work with their students on playing and singing at the same time to create the best band sound that you can. So throughout this book, you're going to notice there are built-in jam tracks and videos for tutorials. So if you have the digital version, you can see them directly on the page, where when you're going through the material, they're right there and embedded. So you can listen to the jam tracks and practice along with them. and have some of the great, amazing musicians that we have that have helped to demonstrate a lot of these concepts for instructional purposes. If you have the hard copy version of these, it comes with a code that you can input in the My Library for Hal Leonard, and it will take you directly to all the audio and video tracks. It's a great way to make sure that you have extra time to practice, and students can use them independently to make sure that they can get the most out of these methods. So let's check out the method book itself now. Let's start off by looking a little bit at section 1 for guitar, and I'll instruct this kind of the way that I would instruct it for my students. Okay, now is a great time to grab a guitar if you have one handy, because we're going to start diving in. So this first activity is going to be just playing the first chord we're going to learn, which is the easy E minor chord. Now, once again, one of the nice features of this book is if you're not super comfortable with it, there's an actual instructional video right here, which we can watch.
To play the easy E minor chord, we do not press down any frets. We strum the top 3 strings.
Similarly, there's a jam track that gives us the ability to practice over not just a metronome, but an actual progression this will work over. So let's test this out. Here's our E minor chord as we learned. It's just the low 3 strings of the guitar. And we can strum them all together. Great, if you've got that, you got your E minor chord. So now, as we can see in the book, there are 3 different rhythm patterns we talk about and how to strum down on them. The first one, as music teachers we know, is just a whole note where we're going to play on 1. The next one would be half notes, and the last one would be quarter notes. So as a music teacher, be it live or even virtually, you can have your students play along with this and tell them when you want to change the pattern from whole to half to quarter. So let's try that right now with the jam track. Let's play whole. Great. Let's switch to half notes. How about quarter notes? And down. Back to half notes. So you get the idea of how I could use this as an activity with my students. I can do it as long as I want to. And some of the students that might be a little bit ahead, they might do a different full E minor chord, or they might use a bar chord. So that way people can play at the level they're at. So the last thing we'll explore on guitar is the 2-note solo, or basic building block towards improvisation. So everyone, let's start off by playing just the open E, the little string closest to the ground. And then using whatever finger you feel most comfortable with, I'll use my first, play on the 3rd fret. Those are the 2 notes that you're going to use to take a solo. So first, before we dive in, let's watch a little bit of this video showing our video instruction on how to teach this, and with some call and response and some examples of some playing over it.
We only need 2 notes to play our first guitar solo. So one of the notes is going to be our open E string, and the next one is going to be on our 3rd fret, G. To play a solo, I'm going to try out some different patterns with these 2 notes. Let's try it with the jam track. If you're having trouble thinking of some patterns, you can try thinking of something easier, like your favorite animal or your favorite food. I'll do both. For example, dragonfly, and maybe for my favorite food, grilled cheese, dragonfly, grilled cheese. Let's try some call and response. I'll play a pattern, you play it right back. All right, sounds good.
All right, and now let's listen to a jam track, and I can do some call and response with you guys. All right, my turn. Your turn. Ready? Go. And now my turn again. Your turn. My turn. So hopefully you get an example of how these jam tracks work. And it gives you an opportunity to work with your students. With just 2 notes, you might know as a music teacher that's the root and the minor third of a scale, something that works really well over the chord. And it's just fun for jamming, but you can do a lot of things with just 2 notes right at the outset.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mary Claxton, and I am really excited to go through how we incorporated musical technique, composition, improvisation, and transcription into the first 2 sections of the Hal Leonard Modern Band Drum Book. So let's start with an activity. We're just going to do a 2-handed, very simple groove. So take your right hand, cross it over your body onto your shoulder, anywhere that's comfortable. And let's keep a steady beat. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, we'll keep that going. And we're gonna add in our left hand somewhere on our leg, anywhere comfortable, on beats 2 and 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also think of this as being right, together, 1, both. Very nice. All right, let's do 2 more measures of this. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Okay, shake it out. Now let's talk about improvisation. Potentially challenging concept for students, so we want to just really ease into it. For now, our improvisation is just going to be moving our hands around our body drum set. So I had my right hand over here and my left hand on my leg. What if I switch them? Let's see what happens, but we keep the same coordination. So right, together. I could do both legs. I could tap on my cheek. Could move to my hip. And just keep moving around and having a little bit of fun. All right, try that a couple more times. Very nice. Okay, so of course a very basic introduction, but we are introducing students slowly to the idea of orchestration as they get into solo ideas. Now let's build upon that by making it closer to a true backbeat, but still focusing on our hands. So rather than playing quarter notes with our right hand, we're going to be playing 8 notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's great to start this on body drums because it kind of forces us to play light so we're not smacking ourselves. But also can help then when the students are ready to transfer to drum sets so they don't feel like they need to absolutely wail to get a good sound. So we're still going to incorporate the left hand on beats 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Together, 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 together. Okay, very nice. One of the things that we really encourage in this book is that all instrumentalists also sing. And drums is a great instrument to pair singing with. It's not without challenges, but it does really cement the idea of groove and beat as you're playing in the instrument and you're working to accompany the vocalists. So let's think about Can't Stop the Feeling and start a little beat. We're going to do it a little bit slower than the track to start. All right, let's try it. I've got this feeling. All right, right there. 1, 2, 3. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up no ceiling when I'm in my zone. All right, so let's try that with our full backbeat now. And if this is your first time trying to do this, it is more normal that it would be challenging. So feel free to pick one limb, like maybe you just want to do 2 and 4 here, or maybe you just want to focus on your motor, kind of like we were just doing. But if you want to challenge yourself, we can do the full beat. 1, 2, 3. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Very nice. Okay, now let's try it with the actual track. So as you can tell, listening to that track and then playing along with it, that we're doing an approximation of the drum beat. We're taking some of the 16th notes out of the right hand that would be playing the hi-hat and making it an easier entry point for students who want to play along with a song that they like right away, keeping the overall spirit of the groove intact. Now that we have this backbeat groove with our hands going, we can already start to do a little bit of composition. So for this first example, we keep the right hand the same, and we're going to do some composing with our left hand. For example, instead of having that snare drum on beats 2 and 4, what if I had it on beat 1 and the and after 3? So that would sound like this. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, and 1, and 1. So this gives students an instant opportunity to do some composing, to think about making their own beats. As you might have noticed trying that yourself, it's also going to give them a technical challenge at the same time because they're working on new coordination. This is going to be really helpful for them moving forward and getting into some limb independence. Okay, it's time to get our right foot involved. Our right foot plays the bass drum. For students now, we're incorporating a third limb. It can be really challenging, so we're going to break it down into multiple parts and again, put it straight with music. So first, just to start off, let's alternate. We're going to go right leg, left hand. Now I'm going to accentuate my right leg a little bit so that you can see it. For students, all they need to do is tap their foot just like they would if they're impatient, right? Okay, so we're going to go right foot, left hand, right foot, left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, awesome. So we could put that with our hand pattern we were doing earlier and have a full backbeat. But before we move to 3 limbs, we would do one more exercise along with music that incorporates our foot. So we're going to play 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And we're going to play this along with We Will Rock You, which is still a song that students find so fun to play. And so, yeah, let's play along with that track. So let's jump ahead just a little bit because I want to show you how we use beatboxing in the early stages of transcribing beats by ear. We feel like this is a really important skill for students to be able to vocalize and to be able to learn beats on their own from recordings, which is a lifelong skill, as we all know. One of our first examples is Heathens by 21 Pilots. And in this example, there's a syncopated bass drum part. It's really what we're trying to get students to key in on, but we're going to have them use B and K as their beatboxing syllables to try to get a handle on what it is they're hearing in this tune. So let's check out the track to begin with. All right, so in that little snippet, you probably heard that boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka. So with our students, we get them to vocalize what they're hearing and get it internalized before they have to externalize it through playing. So once they can vocalize, then we can start in with boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka. And then finally getting them to add in the motor of the right hand. Ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka. And then the last thing we'll do is play along with the recording. So for you, if you're comfortable with 3-limb drumming, play along. If that's new to you, you can either choose to vocalize or you can choose to just do bass drum and snare drum and leave your right hand out of it for now. So let's give that a shot as our last drum playing example. 2, 3, 4. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know that funny abuse. I'm so excited for you all to check out this method book and to really give your students a chance to play along with some songs that they know and love and maybe learn some new ones along the way as well. I wanted to make a quick note and say that representation was really important to us as we designed this. For myself as a female drummer, I wanted to make sure that we featured bands and artists that regularly tour with female instrumentalists, including drummers. So we have so many great artists in here, like Beyonce, Arcade Fire, Hole, The White Stripes, Lauryn Hill, St. Vincent, and many others, so that all of our students are going to see themselves reflected in the curricular resources that we're offering to you. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the books.
Hi, my name is Spencer. One of the key things that we worked on in the base book was making sure that we were focusing on rhythm and timing. So let's jump in right to the very first activity where the only thing we're doing is just playing on open E. So grab that bass if you've got it. You can use a guitar if you want. And we're going to just play that open E. So let's start with whole notes too. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's switch it up to half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job. One of the big focuses we had in the book was to approach the bass guitar as a rhythmic instrument just as much as it is a pitched instrument. So we focus a lot on timing and note length. So let's check out that in one of the lesson videos in the book.
Paying special attention to how long your notes are really makes you sound like a solid bass player. So we're going to demonstrate this using muting on the open E string. So for longer notes, here's what it sounds like muted. We can also use a combination of short muted notes and longer notes as well. When you're listening to music, pay attention to how the bass player on some of those tracks uses a combination of long and short notes to make the music move.
So let's practice counting and playing quarter rests. We'll play the A note, A string, on the first beat, and then count 3 rests. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play, rest, rest, rest. Play, rest, rest, rest. Play, rest, rest, rest. 4, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Now let's alternate between the A string to the D string. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Rest, rest, rest. Rest, rest, rest. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Great job.
Another big element of being a bass player is composing bass lines. And we do that from the very beginning with just 2 notes, the open E and the G on the 3rd fret of the E string. So let's take a look at that video and see how that instructor teaches us how to compose with just 2 notes.
So now that we know these 2 notes, we can create our own grooves using different rhythms. Let's try it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's try some call and response. I'll play a pattern and you can play it right back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Now you can come up with some grooves of your own.
So let's try a little bit here. Let's do some improvisation. So I'm going to play the jam track and I'm going to play along for 2 bars, and then it's your turn to improvise for 2 bars. And then I'll improvise for 2 bars, and then your turn. Let's try it out. Here I go. Your turn. My turn. Your turn. My turn. Your turn. My turn. Your turn. My turn. Your turn. And let's do one more. All right, great job. There are numerous examples in the book written in both tab and staff notation. These exercises focus on a variety of techniques through musical examples that students might know and love. Our goal here was to break down the skills needed to get started, not by creating an exercise book, but by finding real-world examples that would help motivate these students. And with the jam tracks, they can feel like they're part of the band and improve their musical skills, even when they're just playing at home. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I hope you enjoy the books.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tony Souza, and today we're going to be covering some activities from the Modern Band Method book series, focusing specifically on keyboard. Now, in this book, you're going to be able to learn different skills such as learning how to read notes, how to play scales and chords, how to play different types of styles of music, including rock, pop, Latin, indie, and a whole lot more. So let's go ahead and jump into some activities now. All right, so one of the first things that you're going to do as a modern band keyboard player is you're going to play a bunch of chords. So you want to start to feel really comfortable from the get-go with fingering the right chords on the keyboard. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get finger number 1, otherwise known as your thumb. You're going to use finger number 3, which is your middle finger, and finger number 5, otherwise known as your pinky. And you're going to place it on E minor. Okay, so if you notice, you're going to look for the 2 black keys. Then the white key to the right of that is E, and you build out the chord this way. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is on the left hand, you can also play the root note or the bass note, just to kind of feel the chord in a little bit more, right? So we have E minor this way. Okay. Now it's really important, once you get comfortable with playing the chord, it's really important that you try to practice in rhythm. So one of the things that I want you to do is just go ahead and start tapping. Get a nice steady pulse. And once you're ready, count yourself in, okay? And we're going to play some quarter notes on the right hand. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. So this is a good way just to kind of get in the groove of things. Again, you're going to use this shape a whole lot throughout the songs that you're going to play throughout this book. Playing the chords with a 1-chord jam is the next activity. And what you can do something similar to what we were playing right now, where you're going to first play whole notes. So you're just going to play on beat number 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to go into half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. So that's E minor. Hopefully, you try out the jam track with this one, and you just have some fun playing different patterns. You can mix up the quarter notes with the eighth notes and just create your own original comping pattern for this. Once you feel comfortable with that, you can also do it with the G chord. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your thumb on G. You're going to look for the 3 black keys, and then the white key to the right here is going to be your G. And then you can go ahead and place the rest of the fingers accordingly with 1, 3, and 5. So you're playing G, B, and D. Okay, and we're going to play the same thing on the left with my thumb. I'm going to go ahead and play G, nice bassy sounding G. And we're going to try the same thing. So we're going to do whole notes first, then half notes, and then quarter notes. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. The half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. The quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. And now we can talk about improvisation. You can start to make up melodic ideas using only 2 notes just to get us started. So we're going to focus on E. And then we're also going to focus on G. Okay. And we're just going to play those 2 notes. I'm going to go ahead and play a jam track right now. And we're going to go ahead and jam out to this. So as you can see, jamming out with even just 2 notes could be a lot of fun and a great way to start exploring melodies. Now that you feel comfortable playing chords, we can go ahead and combine them to create chord progressions or to learn chord progressions from songs that we know and love. One of these is Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, which, as you can see in your chart, starts on G. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, very nice.
Okay, so last but not least, we're going to talk about one of our favorite parts of the book, which is the full modern band songs. So in this case, we have 12 sections to the book, and in 8 of those sections, we added a tune that our students may know and love, and we arranged it in a way that made it so that all the members could play it and sing it, and they obviously get more progressively challenging as you go on. So from the beginning, there may be only a couple of chords and a pretty easy strum pattern. As they go on, they add a lot more stuff. Some interesting riffs that are used in some of them, for instance, features like power chords, and for the keyboard, you might write in some ostinatos. So specifically for this, we're going to talk about umbrella. I think it's a pretty good example of a lot of the different skills that kids are going to learn. And we're going to play through this on all the parts the way it's written out in the book. But you'll notice there's a couple of different things the teacher gets to choose from, how they would like to arrange it. Who's going to play that little riff that keeps on happening, the ostinato? Who's going to sing it? Is everybody going to sing it? Are you going to make an arrangement of it? Can you change the order of the song, the form? In this case, what we decided to do for a short demo is just to do a verse, a chorus, and then have a little instrumental section with some improvisation, which doesn't exist in the original, but we want our students to be able to improvise. And then we'll close up with a final chorus. So I hope you enjoy our version of Umbrella.
It will never be worlds apart. Maybe in magazines, but you still be a star. Because in the dark, you can't see shiny cars. That's when you need her. With you, I'll always share. Because when the sun shines, we'll shine together. With you, I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be first. You know I'm stick it out to the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, 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 sometimes we'll shine together. With you, I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be friends. You know I'm stick it out to the end. Now it's raining all around. Know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, under my umbrella. Ella,
Unmuted. Thanks everybody for checking out the session as it has did so far. I'm going to hang out here for the next like 10 minutes and answer any questions we have. And if not, probably just, I don't know, start singing sea shanties, which I think is a thing now. And I was going to bring Amy in, who might have some questions queued up for me.
You know what? I have some questions ready for you if you're ready to answer some. So we learned a little bit about the modern band method during this video, but I'm curious to learn more about you. You know, what made you pick up the guitar and want to learn that instrument?
I mean, I think it's a pretty good story. Like, you know, and it's one of the reasons this method exists and basically all the work I do now exists. I was a kid of privilege. You know, I grew up in a largely upper middle class family in Los Angeles in the suburbs, and with two parents that were educators, and they got me what I wanted, as long as I wasn't being too much of a punk. And what I wanted was a guitar, because back then, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there is this thing called MTV, and it used to play music videos. And so, of course, I saw these people playing guitar on it, and I wanted to get one. So I go to my middle school, and I say, I want to learn to play guitar. And they say, well, we don't have any classes on that. But luckily, as a kid of privilege, you know, like my parents were like, okay, well, you need a guitar. We're going to get you a music teacher. And I got one. And after about a year, by about 8th grade, I was pretty good. And I was really excited. So I went back to said middle school and I said, hey, I want to join the beginning band class. And they said, great, what do you play? And I said, well, I play the guitar. And they said, well, we don't do guitar there. And I said, hey, man, I know what a band is. And there's definitely a guitar in a band. But the fact was there was no way for me to participate with guitar in school. And it wasn't until much later I started doing school music But luckily, because I was a kid of means and privilege, I had a teacher and I got pretty good at guitar. And so I got excited about it. And that led me to doing a bunch of other musical things. But like when I started teaching myself, which I did back in 1998 in a public school setting, I said, I'm going to have a guitar class. I'm going to have a popular music class, because that's why I got excited to be in music. And, you know, luckily I found Little Kids Rock, which is a organization with the CEO and executive director, Dave Wish, had come to Los Angeles at that point with some donations from some, you know, great organizations. And they trained some of us teachers in kind of this way to do this thing. So you fast forward and here we are now 10 years later, and I get to do this for a living. And primarily we work with kids that don't have the opportunities I did. But the organization itself at this point works with about 3,000 teachers around America. And these teachers are public school teachers. They're in the classroom right now. They're teaching kids, and they're teaching them all sorts of fun things. You know, everything from guitar, rock guitar, like I wanted to play growing up, to things like, you know, hip hop and sampling and using technology to do production, et cetera, et cetera. So we really were excited when we started talking with and working with Hal Leonard about this concept of a book, because, you know, like I've been using Hal Leonard products since I was, you know, a teenager. When I got that first guitar, I wanted to get, you know, the Guns N' Roses guitar book that went along, you know, that with all the music I liked, and I'd go to the store and buy those books. But the thing that's been missing from all music publications at that point had been a book that you can use in the classroom to teach bands to play in the style of the music we were listening to. So that's why we're excited about this. You know, we hopefully, we think that it's something that people will be excited about.
Absolutely. I know when I was in grade school, I would have loved if I could have walked in and been able to go to class and learn guitar, and, you know, not had to have learned, it wasn't normally offered in our program. So, I mean, I would have been really excited with having this program.
And just to put a little bow on that, I think that there is some concern often that if we start doing the popular music in schools, is it going to take away from traditional programs? And we actually did studies about that. I am a doctor, and my dissertation specifically looked at that. And there's been a lot more studies since then. And what we find is it's the opposite. Kids that do music want to do more music. So you get a kid in the classroom that wants to do one thing. It's not like there's, you know, people out there that only listen to the music they did when they were 12 years old still. You know, eventually my pathway took me from listening to basically heavy metal through, you know, world music, jazz, 20th century classical music. My specialty is actually in, you know, like mid 15th century vocal music. That's like my thing, you know, give me some Ockeghem and, you know, I'm happy. But that's the thing that happens. Like the more music we get into, the more music we get into. Anyways.
Oh, for sure. And then speaking of popular songs, this method has so many popular songs included in the song list that kids can learn once they get through all the steps. How did you pick that song list when there's so many to choose from? And like, what were the steps you went through to come to the final one?
Well, it was pretty painstaking, but what helps is that Hal Leonard, our partners in this book, they have like first of all, they helped us tremendously in understanding how and what to get. And they have such a big list of artists that they have rights to music and stuff like that. And that made it really clear. But, you know, I think Mary mentioned this a little bit. The one thing we wanted to make sure that happened in this book was that we came up with a book that was as diverse as the students that we see, the kids in the classroom. So like we really wanted to dive into every genre we could, make sure that every person was represented in a lot of different ways. So, you know, like, look, I'm a guitar player. I grew up playing rock guitar. If there's one thing any guitar player will tell you, it's like the history of rock guitar is a bunch of primarily, you know, white males. And it's unfortunate because there's so many great ones. I saw somebody mention St. Vincent in the chat. Like, yeah, what an amazing talent. I remember a couple of years ago, we actually had students at NAMM in person performing with Orianthi, who was, you know, just a fantastic female musician, as well as Kaki King. I mean, there's so many great ones out there. So we wanted to make sure that we embodied that spirit so that kids today don't grow up the way that I did, thinking that, oh, yeah, that's all guitar players are. You know, so I'm hoping that helps. And it took us a lot of time and very, very thoughtful. A lot of thought went into it for sure.
No, very cool. Very cool. I think we did get one more question here. Carrie wants to know, as an educator, do you find that that simplified music notation that you use in this method resonates well with that have all different types of learning styles?
Yeah, sorry, you shorted out for me a little bit, but I think I heard what you said. And yeah, so one of the big features, the core values of Little Kids Rock has always been to use iconic notation or to teach the kids exactly where they're at. It might be no notation at the beginning, but we've found that they can learn so much quicker in certain ways. I myself am a music reader. I read music diligently in any style. And but I know that like I needed to. I also know that 99% of all guitar players do not read traditional staff notation. So our book starts off with like the things that most guitar players are doing. We're going to learn chord charts. We're going to see the chords. We're going to introduce tablature really early because you can do a million things with just tablature. And then we start sprinkling in music notation as the book goes on. So by the end of book 1 of this series, all students should have some basic knowledge of how to start reading music notation. And you'll find that there's places where it makes more sense to read notation. There's some where it makes more sense with chords. There's like, if I have a song where the guitar player is just strumming all the way through and I'm writing that in standard notation, I'm missing the point. It's just not, it doesn't make sense. So we believe in teaching all the different musical elements. And we found that a lot of students are really more capable of learning how to play better and how to relate to other musicians, as long as we use as many different types of notation as we can.
No, that's great because, I mean, speaking from experience, looking at a chord chart made more sense to me than looking at separate notes when I was learning. So that's just so encouraging to see that this method book is willing to meet any student at any place and kind of lead them on to where they need to get to.
I think it's really like, you know, I mentioned guitar with this, but I think the best example is piano, to be honest, because as a music teacher, any music teacher that's ever had their door open during lunch knows some random kid will run in and play your piano for a second. And those kids don't read music usually. They just have like some little theme. I know when I was there, they were always playing like the Rugrats theme, or when I was a student, it was always like a theme from Doogie Howser, MD. I'm dating myself a little bit here, I think. But like these kids just run in and do that. And you're like, how'd you figure it out? And they're like, oh, I figured it out by my ear. And then you think about it, like you can play piano so easily. You can play thousands of songs on the piano with almost no information. However, we focus a lot on piano on traditional notation. So if I'm starting there working on my scales, working on my 1-5-1 progressions and inversions, all that, like that's all really good, important information. But you can also at the same time, using iconic notation, play like a million melodies from your favorite songs and play the chord progressions and sing along. So we never look at it as do this or this. We always look at it, do all the things at once, get better at it. And as long as you're having fun doing it, you're going to love it. And I think that this bears out with piano players in particular, because how many piano players quit? You know I did. I took piano for like a year when I was like 5 or 6 and just hated it because it didn't relate to me. But it will, it's music. It's supposed to be fun, right? You know, practice should be fun. So that's what we kind of try to do. You can learn it as much with these other things as well.
Totally.
We're out of time here. Sorry, Amy.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We're on the same page. I was just going to say, did you want to say anything else before we sign off for the day, since we're kind of getting to the end here?
No, I mean, look, I think that this is great. I really love these books. You should definitely grab them if you want to check them out. I found, especially during the pandemic, the digital ones are awesome because it's all right there and it scrolls and it makes life easy. And I spend most of my day, when I'm not actually working, looking at the other Hal Leonard books and digital products that I use to practice my own music making skills. From the Little Kids Rock perspective, I put in the chat earlier, we do have our own website called the Jam Zone that has a whole bunch of other songs and supplemental things that can work really well in conjunction with these books. And also we run teacher training, and especially now during the pandemic, and I'll put this in the chat real fast, you can sign up for any of our workshops that we host, and we host quite a few of them. They're free, and they're kind of like this, where we just make music together. So it's a good place to go to get more information. And otherwise, that's that. And thank you guys for spending your lovely Friday afternoon, evening wherever you are, if you're in Hawaii, morning with us. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.